Hi, my name is Tiffany, and this is the second of a series of 3 screencasts where I'm walking you through examples of effective vocabulary instruction I have provided as part of a literary texts unit. So the unit that I'm working on right now is an American literature class, 9th grade, and we're studying American-born Chinese. And one of the strategies that I think is important when teaching students vocabulary is repetition and repeated exposure to words, especially in different ways. And one effective way that I've found is gamifying vocabulary. I think that sometimes the students are a little put off when we study vocabulary because they feel like it's just like writing down words and definitions and writing about it. So making it more of a game and giving them lots of opportunities to talk about the words and to write about the words and to connect to the words in different ways, I think really helps to drill it into their memories and make it more likely that they'll be able to use them moving forward. So one of the first games that I like to play with my students is Pictionary. So the students divide into teams. I give a vocabulary word, its definition, and a sample sentence to one student. The student draws on the board and their team guesses the word. If after 1 minute they haven't correctly guessed, the other team gets a chance to guess. The team that correctly guesses the word first gets a point. Then the other team gets to draw and guess. So I love Pictionary because I think it appeals to the more visual learners. I think that it is fun to try to connect words and their meanings to images, and I think that can really help students to make connections and draw conclusions that they wouldn't otherwise be able to make. It also gives us lots of opportunities to expose them to these words and their definitions over and over again in a way that is fresh and exciting and not just boring. As they're guessing the Pictionary, as their team members are drawing on the board, they are able to use their vocabulary journal so they can go through and review and think about the words and their definitions as their team member is drawing and try to apply the words to the visual images that they're seeing on the board. So I think this is a really fun and effective way to teach vocabulary. And I've included a student testimonial. I had the opportunity to create a survey for another micro-credential, and one of the students said that, the question says, which of these, I gave a list of many activities, helped you best prepare for the assessments? Remember, assessments include tests, essays, discussions, and projects. And this student thought that Pictionary was a really good way for them to prepare for the test because it helps them to understand the words, I suppose. Another game that I like to play in my class to help students learn and have repeated exposure to vocabulary is charades. So in this game, students divide into teams. I give the vocabulary word, its definition, and a sample sentence to a student. They have to use actions, not words, to encourage their team to guess the word. If their team hasn't come up with a word after 1 minute, the other team gets a chance to guess. The team to guess correctly first gets the point. So similar to Pictionary, I feel like charades helps students visually and also kinesthetically. So students that are more kinesthetic learners, I think, will make more effective connections with vocabulary words if they have to move their bodies and act things out. And again, I let the students use their vocabulary journals as they're guessing words, so they have the opportunity to review and again have repeated exposure to the focus words. And finally, I think this is one of my favorite games. We will often play Taboo. So in this game, I give each student a sticky note or a 3x5 card with a vocabulary word at the top. I ask the students to write down 5 words that are very closely related to the vocabulary word at the top. So they will again pull out the dictionaries and the thesauruses, and they'll come up with the 5 words that they think like are most the same or are the most different or are in some way closely related to this word. I don't tell them what we're going to do with the 3x5 card when we're done, but then when we are done, we play taboo. So in this game, one student is given a card or a sticky note, and they have to explain the word at the top to their team without using any of the closely related words written by their peers. If the team doesn't guess the word in 1 minute, then the other team gets a chance to guess. The first team to guess the word correctly wins. So this is fun because it gives students the opportunity to explain, to describe, to give examples, like sentence examples using the word. They just have to creatively describe what this word means without using synonyms or antonyms or closely related words. So again, they're having repeated exposure to the focus words, and they're having to really think deeply about the meaning and help others make connections. So I think that this is a really effective way for students to internalize the vocabulary words and their meanings. This is just an example of what like one of the sticky notes would look like. So have them write the word at the top, and then they have to come up with 5 or more closely related words that they can't use when explaining the word to the class. So again, I think that a really important strategy for teaching vocabulary words to students is repetition and making sure that students have lots of opportunities to interact with these words in different ways, not just like seeing it on a page and connecting it to a definition, but just thinking about making connections with and really internalizing these words so that they're more likely to be able to access them and use them in real life situations when they're writing or speaking.